And then, Chris, I wonder, you know, with Raul Castro in Cuba today saying there are still some steps that need to be taken. He just said that just moments ago. And the president saying, you know what, this is just the beginning. What could potentially be next? We're looking at the picture of the two of them, you know, shaking hands during the Nelson Mandela moment in South Africa. So what could be next between these two leaders?
Well, President Obama has certainly started this off with a bang, but there's much to be done in the form of normalization. There's only so much that he can do within the realm of his power. The next step is up to the United States Congress, not just to set an embassy in the other country, but also to open up economic relations. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen, at least in the near term. First of all, you have senators saying already this week that they're going to do everything in their power to block funds of for a U.S. embassy in Havana. And then they're also saying that they're going to block anything that would continue to open up economic relations with the country. So this is not the end of the story. It might be the fourth quarter for President Obama and his administration, but it's really, for normalization with Cuba, just the beginning.
Okay, and Ron, there were other things on that list. I mean, the president during that end-of-the-year address, even, you know, threatening veto power, and certainly saying, in a matter of words, that he is still very much relevant. You talk about 2016 and how influential he'll be with that potentially. But before that, I mean, what are some of the other things that you think he is hoping his legacy will be defined by?
Well, I think he gave us one clear hint yesterday at the very end in his final answer when he talked about criminal justice reform. And they have already, you know, what we're seeing essentially over the past year certainly is the president pushing the envelope on the use of a unilateral executive power on a broad array of areas where it is a priority for him and his coalition, but Congress, the Republican Congress, isn't likely to go along. That's what we're seeing on climate. That's what we're seeing on immigration. As Chris noted, that's what we're seeing on Cuba and some of these other foreign policy things. The next logical area, it would seem to me, is criminal justice reform and police relations with minority communities, areas that he already has initiatives in movement, but which are unlikely to be endorsed by the full Republican Congress. Although it's worth noting, Fred, that on many of these areas, what the president is also doing is dividing Republicans. On criminal justice, Rand Paul is with him. Rand Paul is with him on Cuba, as opposed to Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush. So I think part of what you're seeing here is a political strategy of acting unilaterally in a way that he hopes will divide Republicans and create some fissures for 2016.
And Chris, we know at the White House most things are planned. Very little happens coincidentally. And this president yesterday called on all female reporters. And there are many who are taking note of that. We heard our own Suzanne Malveaux early this morning, who worked at the White House for 10 years, say, you know, there was I guess a ritual that many female reporters went through, wearing red so that they could be noticed to stick out from all of the dudes in the White House press corps. What is behind? Why was this president so deliberate in calling on only women? What is the message being sent?
Well, people in Washington, especially reporters, definitely noticed yesterday when that happened. But you're right, very few things happened coincidentally. I think he was trying to undo possibly the wrongs that have happened for many, many decades of presidential and press relations. But I think he made a point. And it was also not just women reporters, but he also did not call on television reporters as
right,
well.
They were all friends.
Yeah, that's right. And they had an opportunity to ask questions earlier. And so, you know, I mean, this is a way he can make a statement and get people talking about issues that they might not otherwise be talking about.
Right. And he showed a little humor at the start, too, talking about the naughty and the nice list. And they were all on the nice list. Ron Brownstein, Chris Moody, good to see both of you gentlemen. Thanks so much. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Fred.
Merry Christmas.